Yay! What a
Hi.
wonderful month to celebrate this women's women's month with a dear friend and of course the current National Commission on Indigenous Peoples chairperson, our chairwoman, Boi Jennifer, most commonly known as Limpayin Siboglas from North Cotabato, Mindanao, Philippines. So I am very honored to have her despite very, very busy schedule. We were finally able to take this moment to just enjoy this conversation. And I'm gonna introduce her to all of you later on. But what's the purpose of this leadership speaker series? I just wanted to share my slide on why we are doing what we are doing now so that everyone will be at the same page at least. You're able to see my slide, right?
Yes,
So I started
definitely.
this leadership speaker series. You know that I founded the ACT International Consulting LLC, and I wanted to do something even despite my very very busy schedule as well. So I said like every month, if I'll be able to feature one leader to at least talk something about leadership, and most of my speakers are in the Philippines. So I'm here based in Atlanta. You are based in the Philippines, but distance does not matter because we got Zoom.
Yes.
So, ano yung project purpose nito? So, the 2025 Leadership Series by ACT International Consulting LLC highlights accomplished leaders, driving community development, and people empowerment through monthly interviews. This year-long initiative aims to inspire action, share best practices, and equip audiences with practical insights to foster collaboration and create meaningful impact. That's what we really do, right? So these are the objectives. We inspire action, we highlight best practices and foster collaboration, we empower communities, and of course, we celebrate leadership. Today, it's your leadership that we are trying to also celebrate. And of course, in the Philippines, you are very much known as Limpayin. I came to know you way back in 2018, 2017, 2018, like that. We've got common friends in Facebook. We communicated via Facebook as if we've known each other for so long. And to your coming here in Atlanta. So now you are the chairwoman of National Commission on Indigenous Peoples. We're gonna talk a lot about that later on for this topic and our particular interest or the focus of our sharing is about leading with culture and purpose. And I think that when I thought about that, that truly exemplifies you even before you became NCIP chairperson and even after your term as NCIP chairperson, you are a leader that leads with your culture and your purpose. So I wanted you to share something about yourself, then I'll try to, as much as possible, I also try to share some video photo slides as you are speaking. So I wanted you to introduce yourself to the world, please.
Thank you, Sis Arja. Happy Women's Month. I guess that this is the very purpose why I'm here because you're going to get somebody like me who's now in the government service and who has leadership role. So for this month, it's really our month. So
Mm-hmm.
again, happy Women's Month, Fiu Flabi, mapiansalam kaniyo lang, Assalamualaikum, my friends who are watching our show tonight. I'm Jennifer Pia Sibuglas. I'm fondly called Bai Limpayen of the Ubo Manobo community, but those who are really close to me would call me Jinjin or Jen Jen. Uh, those who are really familiar with me when I grew up, together with my father. And so I'm the current chairperson of the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples. But before that, I was appointed first as the Commissioner for Central Mindanao that covers Regions 12. And now I oversee as well Regions 11 and 13 as the former chairperson or the Ethnographic Commissioner for 11 and 13 resigned. So I cover at least three ethnographic regions. No, no,
Two.
two ethnographic regions, but that totals to three regions all in all. I'm a mother of three. I graduated Bachelor of Laws, but also had the Mindanao Bridging Leadership Program at the Asian Institute of Management. And I've attended a lot of international conferences, of course, for the climate reality with Sis
Yeah.
Arjo and
Yes.
many more indigenous studies that are very relevant to my chairperson role as of this time. So
Yes.
yes.
So we're gonna talk more about this and different awards. She's award winner, award-winning leader, I mean. So many ones. So we're gonna talk more about that. So this was her when she was becoming the National Commission on Indigenous Persons chairperson. And look how beautiful she is. And she is actually a beauty title holder in Southeast Asia. She would not say that, but I will.
Oh, thank you for reminding
And
me.
as you
Yeah.
said, like this was in 2019, March in 2019. So we first met here in Atlanta. And it was because of her engagement for the Climate Reality Project by Vice President Al Gore that I also ended up becoming a participant for that engagement because I get to know the information from you and everything else is a story, right? And but because
Bayad
of
ko
that,
pa dyan. Oh my God. I was actually preparing for the international pageant then for the Mrs. Asia Pacific. That's
yes,
why I had that
yes,
kind of, body the way
yes.
back.
So this was our event. We 2019 is like 19, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 6 years ago. Six years
Oh my.
ago, 6 years ago, this time you are in the USA.
Yeah, yes, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that was our night. That was with Miss Doreen, and that is Miss another participant from the forum. And behind us is the church of the late Martin Luther King Jr., his old
Yes.
church. And this behind here is the MLK Center, where the tomb is. The tomb is on the other side as well. So this is Miss Geraldine, and we were attending a specific event for that night. So reminiscing our day. Look, that is Frank Weber. And just,
Yeah.
I wanted to mention this one because Frank Weber, as you see, is helping JM Ganuan of Maitung. And they have not met. But because of the connectivity, and you have helped JM Ganuan feature his works in Manila and everything. So it's really like a small world. But because we have lots of common things that's going on around us, distance doesn't matter. Frank is based in Florida. You are in Manila right now. I'm here in Atlanta. JM is in Maitum, but we were able to do great things. We were even able to make a welcoming for Miss Puerto Rico for the Miss Earth pageant. So it's the power of collaboration and our passion that drives us really to keep going and keep doing what we do. So this was in a hotel in downtown Atlanta where we met our cohorts for the Climate Reality Project. And remember this night, this is at the Ebenezer Baptist Church where
Yes.
we met these beautiful ladies from different countries. And of course, tayo, naka-respective then representation for our indigenous peoples group. And of course, nagpayat-payat pa natin dyan.
Kaya nga eh.
Well, at least merong evidence. Yun lang yun. Period.
Yun, yes.
The,
Oo.
the stages of our life, we just have to enjoy it. And and because
Yeah.
yes, remember at that particular period of time, you and your husband, so it's not just you that came to Atlanta, you were joined by that Uramil Lipatuan.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then we had a partnership with the Galing Foundation, the foundation that I was part of as a board member. And this is our Philippine Honorary Consul General Ray Donato. And this was our thanksgiving to you because you were gracious enough to bring your traditional attire wedding ceremony that was featured the longest at the Fernbank Museum. So that was really an
So
amazing
honored.
experience. So both of you really have blessed us. So remember that those are just part of your matrimonial clothing. So we had at least like 2 years for you and another 2 years for
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 me,
for him. So it's like almost
the
5 years.
longest.
the longest, because
The longest showcasing.
it transcends through the pandemic times. So it gotten longer because of the pandemic time. So we're so honored. The Galing Foundation Incorporated is so honored by this partnership. And right now, my traditional outfit blonde replaced your space because they could not really like find another indigenous culture that could kind of like represent. So did you miss the time when you were here in Atlanta?
Of course. Of course, I really miss those days when, we'd go out with the ladies and visit some of the houses.
Mhm.
Kanino ba tayo nun? Kay,
And this is not the house of Miss Isa. This was at the house of
yeah,
Miss Isa Thompson.
yes.
So
Oo.
she's
And
our
then,
culture and arts director.
and when we went to the museum also to check
Yes,
out Reflections of Culture,
culture. Yes, reflections of culture
oh,
exhibition space. So
section. So
yes,
I just hope that there would also be like that here in the Philippines. But I guess there's one or there's a lot, but that one in Atlanta was just surprising because they were able to really showcase the Philippine indigenous culture. And thank you to Galing Foundation for making it possible for
oh,
us, from the Philippine indigenous people to showcase our cultural identifiers to the world. It's really an
exactly. That's
honor.
what
So
we're
thank
just
you.
doing. Exist, that's a meaningful project.
It
That
is
you
very impactful. Yeah.
came here, and then it was followed by the video. Remember the video showcase, because we could not
Yes.
do in person. Then the cultural master Delphine, remember,
Yes.
we did a video, and then the zoom in, the it was a virtual celebration because it was the pandemic, but we still pushed through, and we were able to do a documentary from out of that. And of course, right now, because it's Women's Month, you are really inspired by not only the women that is surrounding you, but also the family members in your own family. And can you share, especially from the perspective of your family, the inspiration from your father? So many people, may, especially in the US, they really don't know your background and your relationship, the role of your father, especially with respect to the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act. Can you share and elaborate more about that? Your mom, the ladies are around you that have inspired you way before you became an NCIP commissioner for Central Mindanao.
Yeah, so my father was the late Dato Joseph Guabong Sibug. He was actually the first sectoral indigenous cultural communities or indigenous peoples committee chairperson in the House of Representatives during the Ninth Congress. But before that, my father was elected councilor during his lifetime in Kidapawan City, and then when he saw that there were really a lot of challenges experienced by our indigenous peoples in Mindanao, he created the Mindanao Highlanders Association, or that organization that we call Mindahila.
Mhm.
Yes, which really did advocate for the indigenous peoples rebels to go down from the mountains and embrace the faults of the law, because during the time we had a lot of rebels because of the time when a lot of people were actually land grabbing our ancestral territories. And so a lot of IP leaders like Maituan, Gawilan, and others coming from different parts of the region in Mindanao, they went to the mountains and really rebelled because they felt that all their lands were taken away from them. And so the Mindanao Highlanders Association paved the way for these IP rebels to go back to the folds of the government and appeal to then President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. to bring back their lands to them. So there was the Tiboli municipality, like Cebu tribal municipality, that was created out of this advocacy. But he was not alone by that time, because there were really a lot of leaders who supported the Mindanao Highlanders Association. In fact, that was, I believe, the first collaboration that happened very successfully done by our leaders that time, that made them come up with the co-created framework, wherein the president, then Marcos, was able to declare some areas as tribal municipalities, and to include one also in Bukidnon. Yeah, Kitaw-Taw also was declared tribal municipality. So, and then it later on blossomed to Tribal Communities Association of the Philippines, which was TRICAP then. Um, there was actually a call from our northern IP groups for the Mindanao Highlanders Association to be serving the whole nation. So it flourished to become the Tribal Communities Association of the Philippines, wherein the northern IP groups were also involved already, and even the Visayan groups also was part of it, and part of the advocacy of coming up with the call also to the whole nation for the
Mm-hmm.
enactment of the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act, a law that would protect, recognize, respect, and promote the rights and welfare of the indigenous peoples. But again, my father died before the enactment, but during the first stage of the advocacy, he was already there with the IP leaders coming from all over the country.
Is
So
it safe to assume that there's a big impact of your father's legacy and father's influence to how you, as a woman and as a leader from your community, from your indigenous peoples group, have propelled you for your other engagements in cultural advocacies, leading to your engagement as NCIP commissioner and then becoming the chair of the NCIP itself?
of course, we cannot deny that at an early stage in my life, during my younger years, sabi ko nga, I would always brag about this, that my father would wake me up 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning just to join him at age 3. He
Mm-hmm.
would already, wake me up in the morning and, would not require, but would request me to go out and join the group
Mm-hmm.
to visit some mountains, visit some areas, and where the indigenous people's leaders would just be there waiting for him so that they could, have dialogues and share their issues and concerns. So I was really um exposed to a lot of the challenges that happened during my
Mm-hmm.
father's lifetime, and also those leaders who frequently visited our homes, visited our house, and then those also that we usually visit from the north down to the south. So I was a frequent, not a frequent companion of my father. Parang ako yata yung naging talent niya when going around. He would always request me to sing and dance for the community, especially pag may mga bata. Oh, sayaw kayo, kanta kayo para you can show the IP elders na you're also happy to see them, ganyan.
Uh-huh.
So yes, it really played a big part of my life because I would always go back to the past whenever I would want to share also my present and my plans for the future, because it is always grounded on the experience and the community that my father raised me up with.
Yeah, I am stressing that because as I recall, when I learned that you are the daughter of, the late Joseph Sibug, it's very inspiring because for me, I only heard his name, but I've never did have an opportunity to really like meet in person. But I'm so blessed that I came to meet you. And remember those calls that we had before via messenger, like talking about aspirations and stuff, the frustrations we have as a cultural advocate, the changes that we wanted to make an impact, the strengths that we can leverage to empower others along the way. And we know that the best strategy for us to advance our collective cause is to have more people that would also join us, think like us, and act also similar to what we are doing in advancing for the greater public good for all. That the aspirations that we have. And we also recognize that there are things that we can no longer change, that there are so many things that we can do because of the historical context and how deeply rooted the problems are, that we are not going to really be the solution for that. but we can make a difference for things moving forward to become better. If the past is not really that good, we can shape the future. We can shape what we wanted to do in the future. And that, I think that is one thing that we click so much, even if we have not met in person, because our idealism is just so much aligned. Our aspirations is just so much aligned. So when we met here in Atlanta, it's as if we've known each other all a while, all along.
Yeah.
And then when we do engagements, it is not hard. We don't sweat at all. When we do project, we initiate it, we plan for it, and get it implemented. Remember the Oplan Bayanihan, where I remember I was doing my online project management mentoring, and you were part of that. You and Jessica were part of the leadership mentoring thing. And then I'm just so happy that what we talk, I'm seeing it, you're doing it. And you're doing it in a very effective way. You're doing it your own way. You are embracing it, the idea, and then make it happen. And it's just so empowering on how so many indigenous peoples from different parts of the countries, from different age groups, from different organizations, seeing the difference of that action. That is like very profound to me. So let's transition now your role as a national commission on indigenous peoples chairperson. This is a very crucial role and a very crucial period of time as well, and a historic moment for a new administration at that. And I'm looking at that. What are your key initiatives when you took into the leadership position? Ano yung mga challenges? What are also your challenges as a leader, and especially as a woman leader at that? And then what strategies have you used to be effective in that role? And then how were you able to engage private private sectors, private group, nonprofit organizations, and collaborating for supporting Indigenous Peoples Group? I know because you're very active with JCs. Another organization that is common to us is the Junior Chamber International. You're active with JCI, that is in Metro Manila. I was then active when I was in General Santos City. But these are vital organizations that shaped us socially, that shaped us, that we cannot just be comfortable in our own crowd, that we have to get outside of our comfort zone if we really wanted to leverage that opportunity of being able to help and reach out to others. So, and I know that you're passionate about cultural preservation and education. I know how we talked about yung palagi kong sinasabi po na pataka is real because ang dami-daming mga tao na they are just using our cultural identifiers for their own fashion sense, for their own accessories, but neglecting the fact of the cultural impact of that unworthy actions and or misrepresentation against indigenous peoples. And I know that we remember that the best way we can really show it is that for us indigenous peoples to stand up and show this is how we value our cultural identifiers. This is how we should wear them. This is how we should value them. And we are not just your accessories and or your fashion statement. And we made flyers, remember? We made flyers about, and then in so many different events, we made flyers, and it trickled down to so many indigenous peoples that they were starting to do it. And now I'm just so happy because we don't need to tell people. They are taking
True.
action. They're doing it. And it's just so empowering to see that we are no longer the few. Few years ago, there's just a few because there's like nahihiya. You're shy of coming out. But right now, because of that sense of empowerment, everybody across ages, in the schools and stuff, the discrimination that we've felt before, now you could not just say anything against indigenous peoples because they are aware na pataka is real. So share that, incorporate all of these things in your being the NCIP chairwoman.
Yeah, thanks, Sis Arjo. I think again, let's really my life since my time with my father that really shaped me for who I am today. Those narratives that I have experienced in the past, knowing that he was just actually there and looking up to him as my role model because he would always exude this qualities of being, a leader of full of integrity, very full of generosity, at the same time full of interest in how to really advocate for the rights and welfare of the indigenous peoples. And so being the current chairperson right now, this is actually one of the most challenging jobs that I have because we know very well that I assumed office only in September 6, 2023. And I just served the unexpired term of then former chairperson Datu Allen Kapuyan, who was actually the chairperson in NCIP way back then. And I had to take over during the time of the budget hearing in Congress, wherein we had to defend our our NEP or our national expenditure program. So that time it was really a moment wherein I had to be emotional. At the same time, I had to just show some strength in my leadership because as a woman, I felt that the former chairperson was really one who really did well for the agency. He was this vibrant, very vigorous, and very assertive leader, wherein he was able to do a lot of milestone achievements for the agency. But for me as a woman, I said that, oh my God, how can I, follow his footsteps or if I can replicate what he did in the past. But then I said I had to move on using my own skills and just using my own wisdom when it comes to um, implementing what the agency should do. So again, for my leadership and for administration now, we really had focus on we made significant strides already, especially with the amendments of our free, prior, and informed consent guidelines. We know very well that the indigenous people's ancestral domains, the way to protect them is that when every time that there are projects that are coming in, a process should be done, and it's called free, prior, informed consent. So we are the one overseeing most of the activities or the processes that are being done or being conducted. And then lastly, we also come up with we take care also of the monitoring of these memorandum of agreements that have been made. So we have amended the FPIC guidelines, and a lot of guidelines are already in place, and a lot of memorandum of agreements, memorandum of cooperations, and understandings had already been institutionalized with non-government organizations, civil society organizations, non-government agencies, and a lot more partners that would want to help the indigenous peoples using these instruments that they made in partnership with the NCIP. So a lot had been done. I cannot mention them one by one, but
I know you could not. I'm showing. While you are speaking, I'm showing some these slides. These photos were from the Facebook page of NCIP. And then I'm just amazed from one signing to another signing of MOA. You know, you can really see the vibrancy and the engagement of the team members of the NCIP, how they are empowered. As I told you before, I only know NCIP, but I think I've appreciated NCIP even more during the pandemic because NCIP took on the virtual world to engage different like groups across the country, and we were able to do a lot of activities. I know I have spoken in so many sessions or symposiums in that way, and it's just very empowering on how the mainstream community, the non-indigenous communities, have also embraced, the indigenous people's culture. So I featured a whole lot of this because if you can see sa mga damit mo, sa pangapananamit mo, you're not telling people that we are indigenous peoples, but you're wearing it. So instead of telling people, you're showing it. And these are just some of the photos that I'm trying to like share on why it is important for you to put into action what is written about cultural preservation here and there. But sometimes they just stick on the paper, but you're not really seeing it happen in action. For your leadership, to me, what stands out is that you exemplify that diversity and you wear the culture of the community that you are engaged at a particular moment in time. Why it is important to you as a leader, and why do you think that indigenous peoples have to step up and wear your identity?
Yeah, yeah, Sis Arjo, knowing us women who are really in the advocacy of promoting our cultural identifiers, I believe that we have to really to take action because during this mainstream era and during this mainstream body politic, we know that there's a lot of discrimination, and the only way to fight discrimination is to show everybody how proud we are of our roots, how proud we are as indigenous people. So the first thing that they see, of course, it's not the way we talk unless we say something,
Mhm.
but it's something that we wear
Yes.
that would identify us as indigenous peoples and
Mhm.
showcasing our traditional attires. Before, a lot of, just to share with you, Cesarjo, when I was
Mhm.
the provincial legal officer of the NCIP in Kidapawan City way back in 2009, when I would ask my fellow IPs there or fellow Manobos, why aren't you wearing your traditional attire? And they would say, oh, kasi sasabihin nila, sasayaw daw kami. O kaya
Mhm.
they would say, mga Manobo. And I said, uh, so just to avoid that, I started wearing our traditional attire even during office hours, just to show people that we're really proud of being Manobos. And I would even go to the market even, to do marketing using our traditional attire. And the 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 merchants would say, "Oy, sasayaw ka ba?" Ganyan. Sabi ko, "No, at talagang attire namin ito.
That's
Ginagamit namin ito
normal. That's
araw-araw."
yes. So as you
Oo.
were sharing about your province, I believe this photo is from Kidapawan. Yes.
Which one?
Yeah, are you able to see the screen? The screen. I'm showing the photo of with Kagawad
No.
Jason, then with you in the front, and then with all of the indigenous peoples groups. So I'm sharing as in the screen your photo. I think it's the 27th Charter Day of Kidapawan.
Saan
NCI,
yan? Wait lang. I
NCIP
can't see it.
NCIP nakikiisa sa pagdiriwang ng ika-27 Charter Day ng Kidapawan. I'm just showing it. I don't know if you're able to see from your end, but this is an example of, as you say, that we public officials are embracing it, are showing it. Now, the stereotyping of us wearing indigenous people's culture is not limited to because we're gonna perform. I experienced the
Yes.
same dilemma here in the USA. My friend Carlo Ebeo said, Arja, you have to bring your cultural outfit or cultural materials. So when I started coming out in some of the cultural events, when they saw me wearing my cultural outfit, the first question talaga, kapwa Pilipino ha, magsasayaw ka ba? Anong performance mo?
Perform ka ba?
So because I started like sharing about Blaan culture, then I did a Blaan dance and stuff. So every time they see me wearing my cultural attire, their perception talaga is that I'm going to dance. So I found it an opportunity instead of being getting mad. I found it as an opportunity for me to advocate and to educate. So that's why the Kafiablan Empowerment Inc., which is also Anali Aday, we also started to really like doing something of that kind of mindset. That this is our formal wear, just like you have your formal wear. This is something special for us. So yesterday I had an event in Women Empowerment event here. I was wearing our formal wear on the Grand Iftar last Thursday night, organized by the Atlantic Institute. I was wearing your blouse, and I was wearing another something from Mindanao. It's because of the representation, and everybody was saying, "Oh my God, I wanted to have a photo with you because you stand out. You're unique. You're so bright." Talagang yellow, yellow,
Yes.
gold.
Oh, yeah, tsaka, one more thing, like, everybody would say, oh, dress code is Filipiniana. And
Uh-huh.
then, say, bakit yung Filipiniana ba yung mga butterfly and, na formal attire? No. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, what we're wearing, what the indigenous peoples are wearing are also Filipino,
Uh,
Filipino attires. And so
uh,
that's why we should showcase them as, Filipiniana as well.
mm.
And they would always say, the bedrock of Philippine culture is indigenous. So why not
Yes.
promote it and the indigenous cultural attires and those that, sorry to say that, but those that are, in the mainstream fashion right now. So,
Oh, so it's like show and showing is sometimes really more effective than telling, because
mm,
it different people have their different reasons on why they could not wear. And one of that, so sadly, in our culture is the history, the long standing history of discrimination. And because when they see you wearing something, then you are identified as an indigenous people. There's really like a perception about bad perception about indigenous peoples. And that's we're trying to make an edge, to make an impact on that particular area. So whenever I see you in your events, thanks God there's Facebook that we're able to see each other. I know how busy you are. You know how busy I am, but we keep in touch, and the best way that we can keep keep on
informed.
being informed on what the other person is doing is through Facebook. And whenever you are in everywhere, I said, like, you are really making an impact, and I'm seeing the influence of that cascading to so many communities. And now, indigenous peoples, there are so many indigenous peoples that are engaged in their own cultural enterprise, using their skills, using their school of living tradition, their skills transfer, but at the same time with an economic impact to their community, to their livelihood, and also ownership of their craftsmanship, because there are also so many people immersing themselves in the community, learning these
Yes.
designs of the indigenous peoples, and then later on trademark their own
Own.
creation. And while the indigenous peoples could not trademark their centuries old craftsmanship, it's so weird because I was studying how to patent something. Like, I have Foya Bing's
Yes.
tabi. You cannot patent it because it's a collective ownership of the community that is part of the long-standing tradition, and not on a particular individual and or innovation of an artist. So somebody that can innovate part of the culture can patent their so-called own work. But it's so good to know that so many indigenous communities right now are also coming out and being more engaged with their own crafts, with their own uh, artworks, with their own creativity. And there are so many right now na even declared as gamaba, gawad sa malilikan ng bayan, from the indigenous people's culture. And I'm happy that you met Fuya Bing. I'm happy that you met our two Blaan na Gamaba awardees. And in your region, we have more Tabolis na into the, now we have, the chanting, we have the brass
As
making, we have
cutting.
brass
Yeah.
cutting, we have the Tabolit Nalak, si Miss Barbara Ofong. So it's
Epic.
the culture is very much alive, and it's very much alive. It's just that so many indigenous peoples right now also have to be very careful that we ourselves are not the one abusing. I have to really emphasize that our own IP culture and identity, just because for the sake of quote unquote promotion. As there's a very very uh, kind of like fine line in these kinds of things, on how to balance, and how to not misrepresent, and how to still be grounded and not disrespect, especially the real cultural masters in our community, right? So with all of that, in your engagement, I know you've traveled from different parts of the country. What stands out in all of these engagements when you as the NCIP chairperson, you coming from Mindanao, and then you have to deal with the indigenous peoples up north. You know, they are more established compared to Mindanao. How is that experience like to you as a woman leader, as an IP leader, coming from Mindanao? There's a big fuss right now about sub-Saharan
Yeah,
Mindanao.
Sub-Saharan Mindanao.
Look at the beauty of the sub-Saharan Mindanao. My gosh. Regards na lang to that person. All we can say. The beautiful. So, you know, these kinds, we are passionate about this because these are the kind of mindset that we really need to point out. You know, it so happened that it was publicly known because of the use of the International Media Organization. But that mindset is not only for that person. That mindset is also true to so many people who have not been to Mindanao. They might not call us sub-Saharan Mindanao, but it's true that they are afraid of coming to Mindanao because of the
Yeah.
perception, because of the perception, especially for security and stuff. I hear that here in Atlanta. I've met so many. And there's just so much bad perception about Mindanao that I said, like, I need to do something to be able to represent myself as a Mindanao, to be able to advocate, because these people are blinded and these people just did not know. And then the generalization about Mindanao is not fair with respect to security or stuff. Everywhere in the world, there's some kind of quote unquote dangerous place. Here in our metropolitan city, there are places that my husband don't wanted me to go because simply it is perceived to be not safe at a particular period of time. Same is true. But, you know, to generalize always Mindanao, and as if mangutanog, naabay refrigerator sa Mindanao, wakakuyapi. Naabay electricity sa Mindanao, wakakuyapi. So,
But
that
this buy-in, yeah,
mm-hmm.
admittedly, yeah, when I grew up also, alam naman talaga natin that Mindanao has really been, delayed in the development because we're really far from the Imperial Manila,
Layo ta sa
and so,
luwag. Sa
oo.
ginasuti sa to, layo kahit ta sa luwag.
Oh, layo. Oo. So that's why murag ang TV late na kahit na nagka-TV sila advanced kay diri. But perhaps the perception really lingered on up to the time being when they would think that Mindanao is still way laid back,
Mm-hmm.
and the development there is not really that improved, and
Mm-hmm.
so they would think otherwise, like mga sub-Saharan, parang
But the good thing of this, the good
uh,
thing is that
we
look at the culture of the Filipino. Natutuwa ako on how the Mindanaoans have reacted and turning the negative into positive. Look at
Yes, exactly.
how many of these videos of sub-Saharan Mindanao are popping up. And then there are places that I did not know before that oh my God, this is really Mindanao. And sabi ko, see, the Filipino, the mindset also of instead of really being pissed off, we moved on to make the negative into positive.
Positive,
Into
yes.
positive. And ngayon, so is sub-Saharan Mindanao. Northern Luzon, South Europe. But the good sense of the humor, the sense of humor nating mga Pilipino ba? And the sense of yung social natin is very unique. But what I appreciated out of this discourse is that people from Mindanao are speaking up, and even people from Luzon who has called out that particular person that it is not simply fair. And then we were able to showcase the greatest and the brightest of Mindanao with respect to the capitals, from the capitals to the parks to the environmental resources, to the magnificent buildings, to the tourist spots of Mindanao. Nakakatuwa. It has become, meron din siyang talagang naging positive na na parang impact out of the negative na initial talaga na reaction. So out sa galit ng mga tao, ginawa na lang din talaga siyang challenge. Ito ha, Sub-Saharan Mindanao pala kami, pati brother ko. Sabi niya, guys, mauni ang amuanga farm diri sa Sub-Saharan Mindanao.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
It's the thing ba na right now indigenous peoples especially are speaking up, sa atin, sa context natin. Our ancestral domain is part of this beautiful landscape of Mindanao, which are even like featured. So sa iyo, Chairwoman Lipayen, this month, I know you've been in so many speaking engagements for Women's Month, and then your leadership, your things like that. Ano yung mga significant na nag-stand out sa iyo sa mga recent engagements mo about women and or women empowerment?
Well, the other day, we were invited by the Department of Finance to attend the Philippine Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative
Mm-hmm.
event, Minding Her Own Business. And
Mm-hmm.
then we were able to share the challenges of the indigenous women in
Mm-hmm.
extractive industry areas. And then the role of NCIB, of course, in the lives of the indigenous women that are exposed also to this kind of industry. And then we also received an award. I hope you also have
Yeah, I saw that. Hindi ko siya
seen
nasali
that.
dito hindi ko siya nasali na dito sa sobrang kabisihan ko. Hindi ko na siya nasali dito sa ating slide deck. The recent award.
Yeah, so that was the first Gawad Bayanihan sa pamumuhunan.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was organized actually by the Bureau of Investment and the Office of the President as well when they awarded some national government agencies and some local government units who were really bolstering the economy of the country. So yes, NCIP was one of the awardees, and we're
Mm-hmm.
just happy to share it to the world that the indigenous peoples are not just a recipient to government projects or government programs, but indeed
Exactly.
we are one of the great
Partners.
contributors to bolstering the economy of the Philippines. Hindi
Yes.
tayo parang on the receiving end lang
Receiving it.
palagi.
Yes, yes.
We are
That mindset.
partners in the peace and development. Kasi
Yes.
parang ang tingin kasi sa atin, no, yan sila mga katutubo, yung naglilimos lang yan. Alam mo yun, that's the usual perception. They don't know that
Exactly.
we have been, contributing to this economy since time immemorial. In fact, if you look at history, even our precious gold, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we already have innovations and creativity in place
Mm-hmm.
even before the colonizers came. That
Mm-hmm.
is why some of even of our artifacts are being sent to other countries for showcasing. Pero
Yes.
hindi na nga na-highlight yon because what is highlighted is the modern or the mainstream artistry already. Kulang pa sa recognition talaga and looking at the historical significance of the indigenous peoples um, even prior to the coming of the colonizer. So yan, kaya ganyan, ang daming perception pa rin na maliit pa rin ang tingin sa atin. Parang kung
You as a chairwoman have really made, I would say, hindi kasi, I'm not saying that because you are a friend of mine, but from a person that is looking at it objectively from afar, just just by the face value of what the NCIP has achieved over the years, NCIP, I'm very proud. I'm very proud. I would really like say that, especially na talagang yung online presence ng NCIP na nag-took off, especially after the pandemic, yung how NCIP has really like turned itself to be competitive with the use of technology. Talagang nakita yung creativity na hindi siya office lang na pinupuntahan. Ngayon, because, na, ang na-appreciate ko is that how indigenous peoples are, because of the equal access to communication technology, naging equalizer. Naging equalizer because we have easy access to information. Kahit na pobre ka, kahit na sa kabundukan ka ngayon, kahit na sa whatever ka ngayon
yes.
na community, there
Mm.
are, as long as my cellphone, kahit pobre, kahit nasabihin mo ano yan, but we value communication, tapos yung access to communication and access to information. And so many indigenous peoples right now are content creators ng whatever content, whatever they have. All I could say is that kung mag-content kayo ng kung
Oh,
mag-content kayo ng indigenous people's culture, make sure na it is decent, acceptable, and within the cultural at least guidelines of your community, na hindi niyo pinapahiya yung community ninyo and or your IP group, that you are properly representing, and then you are really proud na hindi niyo lang ginagamit yung pagiging IP niyo just to gain likes and or followers. The better yet, the strategy would really be create a content that will really educate and uplift everyone for whatever the intent there is, because
yes.
everybody has a different motive, everybody has a different intent on what would they do. Pero pag nag-intersect siya sa indigenous peoples and indigenous culture, please know that your personal interest is secondary. Yung,
True,
yung,
true.
yung know that
Yes.
your personal interest is just secondary, nagbe-benefit ka lang sa whatever is output of that. Pero yung primary mover mo dyan is yung i-uplift mo yung identity na kung saan ka galing. Right?
I strongly agree, Sis Arjo. Uh, a lot of content creators are already, violating the customary laws of certain communities. That's why most of the time I would often advise our, fellow indigenous peoples to consult first our leaders and see if those actions that they are doing are in within the bounds of our customary or cultural integrity.
Mm.
Otherwise, they would be, committing misappropriation or appropriation to our cultural integrity or cultural heritage. So we should, as indigenous peoples, we have to be culture sensitive and culture
Might as
sensitive
well.
and appropriate to our culture.
Yes.
Because most of us, kasi we feel that we're indigenous peoples, the more that we can violate our, cultures and traditions, but
Mm.
let's still go back to the values of being indigenous peoples. It's all about respect and you know, we should always be community driven in
Yes.
our ways. So
Yeah.
dapat talaga there's always consultation with our elders. We cannot go wrong every
Mm-hmm.
time that we are being guided by the wisdom of our elders. So, let's
Yeah.
do it all the time. Huwag po
Yeah.
natin kalimutan na lahat po ng ating mga karunungan ay nakabase dun sa wisdom ng mga elders natin. So why not maintain that closeness and relationship with our elders so that they can, most of the time guide us in our modern way of life, Sis
Yeah.
Arj.
Yeah.
Ayan, tignan.
Yes. And also one of the things that you have made popular all over the country, when you say yesen.
Yeah,
When did
yes,
you embrace that, and when did you learn that when you come to Mindanao and you've been to the Blaan community? Because I just started, you said yes and yes, sabi ko that is Blaan, that is from us, and then you are using that same word when you even go to non-Blaan, non-Blaan regions. And then
yes,
how was it being received? How is that word yesen, which is a Blaan term for in agreement? Yes, I agree with you. Yesen is like I agree with you. I am with you, and it is a word of in agreement that you are
yes.
aligned with one person. So how did you somehow popularize that and or embrace that yesen concept to be known in a national context?
Yes, okay. So, Sis Arjo, there was this Blaan Day in South Cotabato
Mm-hmm.
when I was listening to Folong Abing. He's
Uh-huh.
the Indigenous Peoples
Coronadal.
Mandatory
Yes.
Representative in Marbel in
Coronadal
Coronadal.
City.
And I
Yes.
said, please don't clap your hands. Just say yes, and because when you clap your hands, it's like calling the dogs to bite you. And so I said, oh, tama nga, no? Sabi ko, sige nga. So, the next engagements that I attended, sabi ko, okay, I'll use this term. So, yun na, yes and, yes and, yes and. And then, there was this one time when I really had to prove that indeed, yung sinabi ni Folong Abing pala is indeed true because there was this one time when we were implementing the Hapag Katutubo program in the mountain or in the hill of Coronadal,
Mhm.
when when the audience were clapping their hands, a big black dog came to me and wanted to bite me. And then when I shouted, yes, and he just, moved away. So sabi ko kay Pulong Abing, totoo nga. Pag nagpapalakpak ka, talaga palang pupuntahan ka ng aso at kakagatin ka. So sige, yun na lang. And then that started really the use of the yesen na term. But it's not just that, Sis Arjo. Every time I go to a certain community, of course, I'm very culture sensitive. I
Yes,
sometimes wouldn't use talaga yesen. I would ask them, oh, ano bang gamit dito when you want to show your
agree.
joy and to
Mhm.
show affirmation or your strong
Agree.
agreement with what I'm saying? They would say, oh, in Sarangani, it's Kihu. In the
Yeah.
Tibon, it's Lelelefuyi.
Mhm.
In Manobo, it's Koyoy. Or in other areas, it would be here in the north, Adivay, and
Mhm.
a lot more. So I think it really depends on what community you're speaking for, or what community or what audience you're attending to. So, but most of the time, kasi Yesen is really popular now, especially so that a lot of even politicians right now, when they hear Yesen, they would already use it. So, sabi nga nila, are you running for senator? Sabi ko, no, it's a blaan term for, expressing your joy, your affirmation, and strong agreement to what I'm saying. But
Yes.
other than that, it's just a simple yesen
Yes.
used by the Blaan community in South Cotabato. But
Yeah.
again, if you go to
So
Sarangani, it's
Sarangani.
Yoo-hoo!
Yeah, cute. But
Yoo-hoo!
it's very powerful. You know how
Yes.
you're able to, that is soft power. You know, that is a soft power that you were able to put in a national context. And how you're able to harmonize the context of this with an equivalent term to another indigenous peoples group. This may sound like this in this particular group, but it means the same thing to the way you said it in this particular group. But I think because yesen is just yes with an en,
Yes, yeah.
yes with an en. So it's
Yeah.
so easy because lots of words in our Blaan words. We have lots of actually like few, which is few, almost
Feel.
the same as few.
Yes.
Few.
Good.
So Bernard learns a whole lot of Blaan words
Yeah.
because he associates it with the English words. Few,
Yeah.
which is few, yes, yes, and because
Yeah.
it's you just have to add the e and yes, and so it's kind of like blunt English slang somehow. It's easy to follow through. But I just wanted to really emphasize that aside from the diversity of colorful, I can just imagine how colorful your closet is because all of this for all of this outfit that you are using, I am so impressed. And I have not said that to you, but I am observing what you're doing. And I'm getting it. You are showing and you are not really telling. And then by you showing it, so many indigenous peoples from that particular community, indigenous and non-indigenous people, are embracing that it is fine to wear, not because I have to dance, not because I have to sing, not because I have to do a parade barefooted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tayo barefoot princess. Kahit sa Atlanta, nakapapa rin.
Yes,
Uh,
I still do that. I still do that thing because it's our thing of when we are grounded really culturally, it will just really manifest. It's because it's part of us. You cannot separate it away
yes.
from us. And being here in Atlanta, it is even more unique because ako lang yung nagkakaroon ng ganoon na outfit. Ako lang yung nagkakaroon ng ganoon na may kakaibang identifier. So even though if I am in the Filipino community, now I have the opportunity to leverage uplifting my indigenous people's culture. So now I wanted to be like you. I wanted to have diverse clothing from various indigenous people's groups of the Philippines so that I could wear their culture in an appropriate event that I get invited to. And this is going to be a lifetime calling. I will not change. No matter what engagement I'm doing, I try as much as possible to wear my culture. Not just say it, because the best way to really share our culture to other people is, when they see us embracing it, doing it, and or sharing part of it. So with that, Boy Limpayin, what is your final message for this interview, for your, leadership with culture and purpose? What it is to you, the message that you wanted to share to everyone, the generation of today, the older generation of today, the younger generation of now, and even the youngest generations of tomorrow. If whoever is going to watch this video in whatever platform that it can be shared, what would be your message to them as NCIP chairwoman, and of course, as a woman leader?
Kinabahan ako dun.
Ang hard ba yung natanong?
Yeah, but kasi the message, tayo naman, it's just always about us that, the future is indigenous and will always be indigenous. Most especially that we're facing a lot of challenges from climate change to modernization, innovation, and modern technology. Um, so we say all the time that even if we are already in this mainstream world, we really have to be culturally grounded. I think that is our greatest asset and our greatest talent and greatest quality being Filipinos, that we are also indigenous. We have within our roots and within our veins that blood that keeps us, united, keeps us really strong and resilient because we have survived and thrived and continue to thrive in this modern era. Just imagine, nandito na tayo way back before the colonizers, but we have maintained our cultural heritage, our the legacy of our ancestors. So I think we just need to continue with what we have and move on with the values that we hold because again, we're not doing this for just for the future generations, but for the ones who will go after this generation. So, yun lang, let's continue not not fighting, but advocating and asserting for what is right for the indigenous peoples. We have a law that recognizes, respect, promotes, and protects us. So let's hold on to this up to the time that there will be another not amendment to the law, but another improvement or development to our being. But still, let's keep this law to unite us and never to divide us. And lastly, as Indigenous women, again, let's flaunt our beauty, our identity, and integrity as Indigenous peoples. This is who we are and what we are all about. Um, talagang when we go together, when we showcase our cultural identifiers together, we are a strong and a powerful force to ano ba
Exactly.
yan, to
Uh,
to be reckoned with.
there is si Libon Blatic. Si Libon Blatic is from Tampakan. Nagsha-shopping dito sa USA na naka-outfit ng blonde.
Diba?
Diba?
Oh,
Tapos ang dami na ngayon mga we have a Blan International's Facebook group, which is a group of Blans that are in different parts of the world and are married to another nationality, and they carried on the culture with it. And then nagtawag namin Fadjan, yung nakabihis, nagpunta ng park and whatsoever. So I see the mainstreaming of, yeah, that's just what we really do. It's not,
yes.
it's beyond the pasundayag, it's beyond the
That's it.
street,
Yes.
the street presentations and or parade and or the stage show. This is just who you are and what you are. So me, I've worn so many outfits going to the Capitol for photo opportunities with the governor and or significant Filipino American event in different outfits because they are wearing Filipiniana. I said I'm gonna wear something that is formal, but from our indigenous people's group. And you always stand out in the crowd because you look different. So
Yes.
to be different is a blessing.
True.
To be
True.
different is to be
Yeah,
different
I
is a
concur.
blessing. So
Yeah.
you stand out. You stand out, and when you are in that forum, represent and represent well. You know,
True.
represent and represent well. That it is not you are an instrument of that representation. You know, whatever applause and or recognition you might get, you are secondary. But the first recipient is really your community, your indigenous peoples that where you came from, the people that you associate affiliated to be part of, and especially if you're in a bigger clan. Kumbaga sa ato nga
True.
bang dili dato paulawan ang ato nga ginikanan
Yes.
kasi
Exactly.
that is
Yeah.
that is a very taboo. You know, the worst that you can do to your family is yung misrepresent ka sa kanila or mapaulawan sila as a result of what you are doing. So
True, and it's also, significantly provided also in the Bible, di ba? A good name is better than riches, says Arjo. So, talaga we have to take care of, our family names or our names at that
yeah,
because at the end of the day, pag nawala na tayo, it's our name that, lingers
yeah,
and the memory. It's not the honor that we take with us, but it's the legacy that we leave
legacy.
behind. So, yung
Yes.
pangalan natin, very important. Although, ako naman, in the past, I must say, I'm not really that, the person who I am today. I also had to go through a lot of challenges in my
Mhm.
life, which also became who I am today. Pero, yun nga, ngayon, talagang iniingatan ko yung pangalan ko, most especially now that I'm in the government service. It's really
Yes.
important. You have to take care of your integrity. You
Mhm.
have to practice and really make sure that you're able to show to the public that you're indeed worthy of such title and worthy of such position that you have been appointed to. Again, it's divine appointed, even
Yes.
if you're earthly appointed. And
Yes,
po.
exactly. So the other yesterday, I was a speaker at that women empowerment panel by people who make history by Alatra International Public Movement. Most of them are Ukrainian-based people, and I'm so honored to know get of them. And I emphasized the emerging roles of the women in the indigenous people's world, because whether we accept it or not, the indigenous people's world is still dominated by male leadership,
Yeah,
but
very
have
patriarchal.
yes,
Mm-mm.
patriarchal, but it is so unique when there are women in that particular leadership that are really taking the position. So I made an example of my community in Landan, in Pulomolok, because my auntie is the IPMR of Maligo. Auntie Rebecca is the barangay captain of Landan. There are so many in this our communities that are into elected officials, and they are women. The culture bearers are women.
Yes,
The the cultural masters are mostly the women. The centenarians are mostly the women. You see, London, we have so many
yeah,
centenarians right there. So uh, there is this innate line in that clan or in that family na meron talagang nagsisurge na women leaders. And
yes.
it might not be a whole lot right now, but I think there will be in the future that you will see an equal representation, more or less
Representation of
representation
women.
of
Mhm.
women in public service and or in non-government offices, but women in leadership across the board. Women in leadership across the board.
Yes, sis Arjo, just to add, the indigenous women right now are, community leaders, as what you have said. Second, they're also political representatives already. Some are
Yeah.
serving in the local government units as not just as government officials, elected government officials, but also indigenous people's mandatory representatives. If you can see now the data, it's
Mhm.
out of the 5,241 IPMRs all over the country, we have 1,200 indigenous women who are already IPMRs. So that's about 28% of the IPMR population. And again, most of us are now entrepreneurs using our own handicrafts, using our own creation to sell in the market and just showcasing our cultural identifier so much so that there's so much exposure already of of our heritage, and it's really a joy looking at the market now that it's being flooded by IP materials, IP products, and even if you look at the social media, a lot of our content creators are indigenous people. So, it's really a joy. I'm really full of inspiration, looking at all our even our IP youth are already promoting our heritage again, but we have to be reminded that in
Yes.
promotion there's still the need to of consultation and the proper
Proper education.
appropriation
Mhm.
of our cultural
Okay.
heritage.
Before
Yes.
we end, before we
Mm.
end, I would like to personally say thank you for accommodating Hans Brandai's request for NCIP to have a meeting. If Hans Brandeis is the my co-admin for the Boat Loots of the Philippines Facebook page, and he is right now in General Santos City. So
Wow.
shout out to Bing Carino.
Out out.
Shout out
Okay,
to Bing
Mr.
Carino for
B.
hosting
Yeah.
him. Yeah, si Bing ang nag-host sa kanya. He is staying at
Wow.
his place right
Wish I
now.
was there.
Yes, so you know because Bing also has a lot of collections about boat loots, not only among the Blaan but from different indigenous peoples group. And Hans was able to document the boat loots that are in the Museum of Mindanao State University. And Hans is going to Polomolok this
Wow.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Shout out to the municipal IPMR, Jerome
Yes.
Pingoy Ante of Polomolok. He will meet Hans. They will take care
Oh,
of him.
that's nice.
Then they will
Palong
go to
ate.
then, then the municipal administrator right now,
Sir
the first,
Joven.
the first Blaan municipal administrator of
Yes. Oh,
Polomolok, my hometown, is a Blaan from
so
Landan,
proud.
Joven. Maraming Malida. Then si Dr. Josette Malida of Landan National High School,
Of course, Ma'am Josette.
coordinating,
Oh, bai, si
coordinating,
bai.
yes, coordinating the cultural masters, the wife of Fulong Duming Maladianon to be there for documentation of further boatloots. Because why I collaborated with Hans for the boatloots of the Philippines is because he was able to document my late grandmother, the auntie of my mom, Lumbe, back in 1997. I was then in UP Los Baños. And the late Uncle Gahit Ante, the lolo of Jerome, was the one who hosted Hans during that visit. So the blonde music that I had been using for dances here in the USA was provided by Hans, which he
Wow.
recorded from my Lola, Lumbe Julie. And that's why I just wanted to support the efforts that Hans Brandeis is doing because of the significance. So so he had been trying to get in touch with NCIP and it's his first time and he came to the national office. So,
Yeah.
so
We were so proud to have him.
yeah.
Yes. Thanks for connecting us, si Sarjo.
And he was wearing blonde international t-shirt.
Yeah. When I saw him, oh, sabi ko, "Oh, well, he's advocating. Okay."
Yes, he's advocating. So that is our Blan International's website, in which Hans is a co-admin of the group, even though he is not Blan. But because of so many works that he has done with documenting the Blan, there is just really that common sense of really like engaging him. So he will be in Polomolok on the 28th, and then
Wish him the best,
then
as
then
always.
then 29th, 29th is his birthday actually. So he will be celebrating his birthday right there among the indigenous, the blonde indigenous
Wow.
people.
When is that? On March 29th?
Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Saturday. So nandun siya.
Advance happy birthday, Sir Hans.
Oh, shout out Hans. I will let him know. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you because you have seen the work that he have done before.
Yes.
He has shown you the initial like the book. I have a
Yes.
copy of that. Bing Karin, you have a copy of that. So we're so honored to have that. Yung mga draft, I value that draft kasi yun yung working documents pa eh. Nandun yung
Oo nga.
originality.
The
Nandun yung
raw material.
raw materials, the
Um,
originality, because he was also able to present it to the Galing Foundation in 2017 when he came for a visit. So now, sabi ko, this might be last trip niya sa the Philippines. So we'll just make the best time of it. And he was able to be hosted by Kublai nung nasa Davao siya.
wow.
Yep. And he
Fabulous.
was able to do a presentation or lecture sa UP Mindanao That is
Mhm.
courtesy of Professor Michael Paloga. So, because Hans na-deactivate yung kanyang Facebook account for now because nung nagpunta siya sa Pilipinas, I'm doing a lot of parang coordination behind the scene to help him out. So, I'm happy naman that people are very responsive. So, at least he was able still to achieve, things that he wanted to get
Yes.
done. And after General Santos City, he will be meeting Waway Saway in Bukidnon.
Wow,
So
he's going to Bukidnon.
yes, he's going
Oh,
to Bukidnon. So I'm sharing this in the context that here is an international researcher, a German ethnomusicologist whose passion is about both lutes. And with sa atin both lutes, there is a danger for our both lute tradition to really be gone because just like the tabik ni Kuya Bing, because of the cultural masters being gone.
they're already dying.
Right. So
Yes.
at
And
least
some
man
have,
lang ito,
passed
somebody is
away already.
documenting. Somebody is documenting and he's documenting the processes. And if somebody can learn those processes and maybe recreate, there's a future na younger generations, some members maybe of the communities would take advantage of that research on their hands and they will be able to recreate what the
Yes.
cultural masters had been doing because he is meticulously documenting step by step the look, the differences ng mga design on per indigenous peoples group. That's just really just fascinating. And that is why I mentioned that because he was so appreciative that you took time despite your busyness. Bong salamat to Flanok Romeo Salutan kasi quick kayo sa pag-send of photo. Ay my God, I'm just so happy. Sabi ko nga, one click away lang talaga tayo sa mundo na ito.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm.
So, dagang salamat sa effort gyud.
Yes, sis, you know what, just to, while listening to you, yung about hands, it's really common amongst indigenous peoples, especially for us, IP women. We really value and the importance of relationships,
Yes.
especially those that were grounded in our history, in our past. Just like, for example,
Yes.
in my case, my father who had friends before, those that, the next generations or the traditional successors of the family, we continue to, connect with each other. And because we feel that it's also our time to work together, just like what our fathers did in the past. So just like you've mentioned about Hans and his, why is he important in our modern day life, that in the future we might use his book, no? To be able to create also the same what do you call this, loots
Roots.
that have been documented under his book. So it's very important. And second, it's about really preserving our cultures through research. And it's
Yes.
important that we encourage everyone, most especially our fellow indigenous peoples, to do our research as pertaining to our indigenous knowledge systems and practices. So we will be able to again practice them for the time being, and for the future generations to learn out of these researches that we are doing in
Exactly. So
no?
I'm so happy that at least this part is happening. He will still have to go and visit Lake Cebu, and then Pulomolok, and then after Pulomolok, yung sa Landan yan na like he will be staying in the farm. He will be hosted by in Landan for the 28th
Ah,
ng gabi. And then he will be staying sa farm namin sa bahay ng kapatid ko on the
wow,
29th and spend
excited
you know
naman.
spend community life yun bang you've done this work and stuff pero you we wanted to share community camaraderie and hopefully he will be able to meet some of our London centenarians
Wow.
that
Yeah.
will come yes that merong something special na hindi niya alam. Wala naman siya sa Facebook so hindi niya ito alam, but we're trying to
Yes.
make a little bit of surprise. Ang mga nakakaalam lang
Uh,
yung mga
uh,
coordinate online, but hindi niya alam. But it's really something that maybe he can meet and really have a community life. But the significance is that the late Uncle Kahit Ante was the grandfather of Jerome. Now
oh,
Jerome
see? tingnan mo, that's what I'm
Jerome is now
saying.
hosting him.
Diba? Traditional successors, you know.
Yes. So,
Oh,
and then buhay pa yung si Auntie Maming na lola ni Jerome. So, they will be able to have some time to meet. That's why I asked si Dr. Josette if either you and Joven will be able to host him overnight or the family of Jerome. That will be something significant and historical because of the connection.
yes.
And then Hans is going to turn over a USB of all of the documentations that he did specific to the boat loot of Fulong Bay. Yung
Wow.
lola namin na document niya noong 1997. And then,
Historical continuity, huh?
yes, and then the Atlanta National High School will host that event. Dr. Gisette Malida, shout out to her because they're gonna prepare a lunch for him sa 28. Inato, gid ba? Kana ganing community
Pinato.
life. And then
Yeah.
na sila short program for him to turn over. I'm sharing this for you and the NCIP to know. It's a public thing that, we have to know na because of that coordination niya sa NCIP National, yung kanyang visit sa local communities has become smoother.
Wow.
Because now
That's nice.
the community knew na meron siyang aware ang government, national
Mm.
government, na he is coming for this specific reason. So when I am communicating behind the scene to the leaders and elected, appointed,
Yes.
and or
Yeah.
community leaders, I am able to say in all honesty that he has communicated through this office, and they are aware because he is not naman staying long in the community. So
Yeah, and
that's why.
I'm just glad and I'm just proud of you, Sis Arjo, connecting me and Sir Hans at the same time, making the NCIP as a relevant agency in promoting this kind of action and this kind of advocacy. It's really important that NCIP is also guiding our researchers to be able to, um have them really observe cultural sensitivity and the other principles. However, with Sir Hans, I think he has gone a long way and he's been, immersed in the community since time immemorial. Parang
Yes,
talo
pero
niya
nga,
pang
pero
blakan.
pero sabi ko nga sa iyo, because of the past thing, there's bad experiences and bad perception pagdating sa
Yeah.
NCIP.
I
So
know,
sabi
I
ko,
know.
no, that's different. The era now is different, Hans. So sabi ko, you cannot just go to Mindanao without first dropping by the NCIP National Office. And the best time is now because we know the chairperson. That's
Yes.
that's just really it. It's not that you are pulling down or name calling. No, I just have to say that yes, she is my friend. But more than anything, she is the chairperson. So when I have to communicate to her in her capacity as a chairperson, I have to be in all sense of formality to be able to do that. Of course, I could try to explain more as a friend. That is a plus factor. But because it's government to government, then there should be an
Yes.
instrumentality that he will be able to use when he visits communities so that he can say proudly that I have done coordination with the national government. The national government have given directive to the regional offices of which I am going so that everybody is made aware of my presence and that I am legitimate and I am not doing anything bad against the standards of the community and or the NCIP. You know, so
Thank you.
this it's this kinds of in project management, right? We talk about
I know, I know.
yes, our key
Yeah, I'm
stakeholders
aware.
who are what's their power, what's their influence, how are they communicating, who are they in the community, and then you cannot just bypass any stakeholder just because you think that they are not important. And I think that's why so many other agencies before that did not collaborate with NCIP have learned their lesson so hard
True,
because they
true.
thought that NCIP is insignificant to them, but they could not do anything if NCIP will not give a permission. So
Yeah.
because of that kind of this kind of bickering and or because we are better, that kind of mindset. I have witnessed that. I will not just mention, but there is really perception the perception that NCIP, it's insignificant, wala naman silang ginagawa. So that's why I said I'm very, very happy, and I would like to congratulate the leadership of NCIP from, before you, and then now you are the present right now, on how you are breaking this glass ceiling of having this different parang compartmentalized before na perception of these offices, and now we are going to be part of it. That the NCCA has to collaborate
Yes,
with
yes.
NCIP. That the National Museum has to collaborate with the NCIP. The DENR, the tourism has to really collaborate with NCIP, because we are not just your accessories.
Yes.
We are also an equal government entity, NCIP, just like the rest. So, but it takes also the leadership that is in that particular role to mend the bridges and to strengthen the bridges, to strengthen that collaboration and coordination. So I applaud you, because
Thank you.
I have witnessed your I have witnessed and I have prayed for you before you got this role. We have prayed together before
Of
you
course.
before you even got your MCIP Commissioner, Central Mindanao. I know your concerns and your fears and your hopes. So I totally understand that. I'm just happy that as a friend, I'm able to give insights that you were able to execute beautifully as you are, powerfully as you are, engaging so many other stakeholders. Just because you don't have funds doesn't mean that you cannot do something, that you are making your connections really great and come to the rescue. You've used your resources, your personal connections beyond the government resources. And
Thank you for saying so.
I, I really have to applaud you, because I see that. I'm not there, but I feel it. And
Yes,
thank
and
you. Yes, yes, and so with that, Boy Limpayen, I will just really say bong salamat for your inspiration and for all of these women. I'm flashing this photo with you with all of these women, diverse group of women from different parts of the country. And then bong salamat, my last say is
you.
thank you, and bong salamat from a half blaan right here to a Manobo princess like you for
Kapon salamat.
bong
Suod
salamat.
ko.
Salamat Suod for your
Yes, and
yes.
I think that
So
unites us both.
this ends our topic on leading with purpose, leading in culture and also with purpose. And I think you exemplified beautifully for that. For the NCIP team, kudos to you all. Much appreciation. Next visit in the Philippines, I would really have
Yes,
to drop
please,
by
please.
NCIP. I have, been engaged, especially in the cultural education department for some of those four. Again, I'm just a click away whenever you need a gratis resource person for the skills
Yes, so,
that's that I'm able, i-leverage na natin itong blaan na nag-aaral ngayon sa Harvard
yeah,
for the benefit of the IB group. It's
of
really,
course.
it's
Oh,
the rise of the professionals, the value of the professionals, masyado
professionals.
critical yung role natin ng mga professionals. So if we are able to balance na meron tayong traditional elders but meron din tayong mga professionals na we are strong, we are able to really bridge that gap. So we are representative of IP professionals. Yes, we are IPs, but we are also professionals, and we are engaged not only locally but internationally.
Internationally.
Internationally, with with an eye, with an
Ang
attitude.
international consulting. O, di
Yes,
ba?
international consulting.
Uh,
Yeah, that's life. That's part of our life, kasi bihira lang yung things that are engaging in this kind of matter. But we have our voices. So thank you for being my guest speaker for
thank
ACT
you.
International Consulting LLC Speaker Series. Talagang nagawa natin. We made it before the end of the month.
Finally. And looking forward to see you here in the Philippines soon, especially in Sapsaran.
Na, pag graduate na sa Harvard itong blaan na ito, pag Harvard,
Kailan
pag-graduate
ba?
na
Kailan
parang
ang graduation mo?
I'm doing one course at a time right now. So right now it's very critical actually because I'm doing international conflict and international
Wow.
conflict and cooperation. So itong the role of the ICC international, uh, court and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
The
criminal
case
court.
the
Court.
case that
Yeah.
is going on right now in the Philippines. We are tackling it actually in our class. The
Wow.
South China Sea and the Philippines
Yes.
dispute, in this Southeast Asia. That is part of my policy memo. Actually, that is
Turbulent times, huh?
I'm taking one course at a time. Pray for me.
I will, I will.
And May,
Always naman yan. I always pray for you, even last night.
May,
Every night I pray for everyone.
yes,
So
May
I'm just happy that we're
27.
able to make this together.
Yes. Kung if I'm able to do it right, one course at a time, May 27th, I should be done. I will be at Harvard campus next year, summer. O,
Wow.
di ba?
Kailan ang ano? Where is Harvard nga? Sorry.
Massachusetts, Cambridge,
Okay.
Massachusetts.
So it's close to Washington.
Yeah, older,
Ah,
yan, up north,
ah,
up north, up north, up north na siya doon.
okay.
So,
Sige.
yeah, but
So we're done already?
yes, we are really very good. But these are part of conversations that we women we continue learning. You are
Of
also
course.
continuously learning. You are continuously engaging, and this is part of our story. But it is not just a story that we just stick to ourselves, but it is the story that we share, and it is the story that we are proud of. Because if anyone will be listening and or hearing and or being happy with the way we are happy with our conversation, that they will be inspired to take action. So for all of you that planok, especially younger generations, na nagki-create ng mga blogs and or especially uplifting yung mga spelling ng mga IP names ninyo, kinukorek ninyo yung mga iba, daghang salamat sa inyo tanan or maraming salamat sa ginagawa niyo. When you are speaking up, when you are being discriminated, daghang salamat, maraming salamat because you have the right to do that. When you are empowering and you are helping your IP leaders, daghang salamat. That is who we are. You don't need to wait for somebody to tell you to do
To
something.
tell you. Yes.
Empowerment is not about somebody telling you to do something. Empowerment is for you to take action by yourself because you know that it is the right thing to do. And you wanted to do it no matter what cost because it is just fair to do it, right? So you should not ask permission just for you to be empowered. Do it, get it done. You have the power to do
Yes.
so. And look at this, our NCIP chairwoman, William Payen. She is a model leader for so many of us. So with that, daghang kaayong salamat for hanging out with us. Daghang salamat, Miss Liz, and to the team of the NCIP chairperson, Limpayen, to NCIP leadership, to all of the commissioners of the different ethnographic regions. Kudos po sa inyo, sa inyong lahat. And as a Blaan, I would really say that I am proud that I am an indigenous person. And here in the USA, because ako lang yung taga Sub-Saharan from Sub-Saharan Mindanao na napadpad dito sa Southeast USA, paninindigan natin yan na i-educate natin yung mga tao na hindi nila alam kung ano yung ating beauty as indigenous people and ano yung strength natin as indigenous people. So kudos sa iyo, Boy Limpayen.
Yes, it.
Yes, and yes, and
Yes, it.
yes, and